Technology projects don't often fail loudly and outwardly. It fails quietly often, and that can be the deadliest part. Unchecked habits, unspoken expectations, misperceptions, those are the most dangerous layer of an implementation, and they're all completely made up and delusional. Most of the time when my team comes into a project, an implementation project of any kind, ERP, MES, AI, machine learning, integration, whatever, it's typically already in trouble. So when they need that additional outside support to try and figure out what's wrong, they call us. We have a unique positioning in the marketplace that we get a front row seat to these silent killers that rot a project from the inside out. And it is almost never the technology that's the issue. So I thought I'd give you guys, and I'd love to hear from you too in the comments, because you guys are a wealth of knowledge as well, of the top 3 silent killers in any implementation project. And starting with number 3 is thinking that alignment is a destination. Most teams that I talk to see executive alignment, board alignment, senior leadership alignment as something that they achieve as a project milestone. And that is a dangerous way to look at alignment. They got the budget approved, they had a kickoff meeting, they presented to the board, done. They're going to support us for the next 2 years of this project. Wrong. Alignment is not a box you check, it's a muscle you build. You have to make sure you're continuously reminding the executive team of the why behind your project. So many times when things get tough or when we're over budget and behind timeline, we go to the executive team, give a status update, and they're like, well, don't we already have an ERP system? Why don't we just stick with that? And it's like, dude, Richard, I explained this to you 24 months ago, and my team has been busting ass to be able to make this happen, and now you ask these dumbass questions. Every status meeting should open with the why. Every executive status point should have the why behind that, as well as key performance metrics, those micro wins you report in on to remind people you're making progress when it might not outwardly seem like it. And the second is an unmeasured culture. Your company culture is either your biggest accelerator or your heaviest drag, but few organizations actually measure that in their readiness work for the project. They often just assume, because one loud person says it or an executive got a weird obsession with it, that this is what their community wants. And if that's not measured, you have no idea if your community wants that or not. If your culture is not ready, can't collaborate across silos, or call out bad processes, no technology is going to fix that. You need to spend the next year really focusing on readiness before you invest in any new technology. Which brings me to my number 1 reason for failure, which is unused SAS license. It's not sexy or dramatic, but it absolutely bleeds organizations dry because they don't understand their SAS contract. They were sold on this illusion of their cloud integration or migration. They were given stupid sayings like lift and shift and things like that to make them think that they didn't need to fix their broken processes or bad data. And now they're paying for licenses once they sign that agreement, even if they're not using the technology for years to come or barely getting any value out of it. Or for small to mid-sized businesses, that can be a reason to close your doors. I'm not kidding. I've seen it before. Businesses have closed because they cannot absorb the expensive ERP SaaS contracts that they've executed. Loud stuff gets attention. We can address that. I love a good resistor in the organization because at least I know you're there. I can help solve that perception or see, how I can better listen to you. But it's the quiet that gets into your foundation and cracks. If you can't address these silent killers, your project won't just fail. It will bleed out slowly and painfully and take your credibility down with it.